This conversation is powered by Google Illuminate. Check out illuminate.google.com for more. Ever wondered how we know about the universe's expansion? It's all about light and a fascinating phenomenon called redshift. Today's discussion explores that, focusing on the hydrogen atom's role.
Exactly. It's a beautiful connection between the tiny world of atoms and the vastness of space.
So we're talking about atomic spectra, right? What's the big deal with hydrogen spectrum?
Hydrogen spectrum is like a fingerprint, unique and incredibly informative. It tells us about the energy levels within the atom.
And that relates to redshift how? So this paper talks about hydrogen's atomic spectrum. What exactly is that?
It's the specific wavelengths of light that hydrogen atoms emit or absorb. Each line corresponds to an electron jumping between energy levels.
Like a barcode for hydrogen?
Exactly, and it's incredibly precise.
Okay, so we've got this hydrogen fingerprint. How does that connect to redshift?
Redshift is the stretching of light wavelengths as objects move away from us. Think of a siren. As it moves away, the sound's pitch lowers. Light does something similar.
Right, so the further away something is, the more its light is redshifted?
Precisely. And by analyzing the redshift of hydrogen's spectral lines in distant galaxies, we can measure how fast they're receding.
So how do we use hydrogen's spectrum to measure redshift?
We compare the observed wavelengths of hydrogen's spectral lines in a distant galaxy to the known wavelengths in a lab setting. The difference tells us the redshift.
And that difference tells us the galaxy's speed and distance?
Exactly. It's a fundamental tool in cosmology.
The paper mentions a JavaScript simulation. What does that do?
It lets you visualize the hydrogen spectrum and how it changes with redshift. It's a great way to understand the concepts interactively.
So it's like a virtual lab experiment.
Exactly. You can manipulate parameters and see the effects in real time.
The paper's by Fu-Clun Wang and Lu Kangwei. Any idea where it's published?
It's available online through iwant7study.org. It seems to be part of a larger collection of open educational resources.
Open educational resources. That's great for accessibility. Is there anything else interesting about this topic that we haven't touched on?
Well, the precision of hydrogen's spectrum is amazing. It's used in many other areas of science, not just cosmology.
Like that.
Spectroscopy in chemistry, for example, or even in medical diagnostics.
This whole thing is part of open educational resources. What's the significance to that?
It means the information and the simulation are freely available to anyone, which is fantastic for education and research. It promotes wider access to scientific knowledge.
Makes science more democratic. I like that. The paper mentions a license. What does that mean?
It specifies how the material can be used and shared. It's important to respect the creator's wishes and the terms of the license.
Always good to check the fine print, yeah. The paper mentions EJS. What's that?
That's the software used to create the simulation. It's a powerful tool for building interactive educational materials.
So it's like a specialized programming language for simulations?
Essentially, yes.
There's a link to a blog post about this. Why is that included?
It likely provides additional context or background information, perhaps a more detailed explanation of the concepts.
Good to have multiple resources available. The site mentions sample learning goals. What are those for?
There's suggestions for educators on how to use the simulation in a classroom setting. They help guide the learning process.
Makes it easier for teachers to integrate this into their curriculum. So from the tiny world of the hydrogen atom to the vastness of space, it's all connected by light and its fascinating properties.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the power of scientific inquiry and the beauty of interconnectedness.
That was a great discussion. Thanks for sharing your expertise.